the records don't happen accidentally. Like timing is everything in swimming. Without timing, nothing can happen. But then there are all other aspects like stroke count, frequency, how efficiently you manage your strokes, your kicking. For freestyle, I can say your kick and your strokes have to be in a perfect sync. Having more protein is always welcome because eating more carbs usually people gain fat. So before the 50s, I normally prefer to take something light because 50s is a sprint event and it just gets over quickly. I cannot have much before the race because then I feel bloated and all. But for 100, yeah, I can just take some carbs in because I have to do a double lap and I need to have that energy.
Welcome to the fifth episode of your favorite value driven channel, Mentor Chat. I am Atharva. Today, we have a special theme swimming. Swimming is a complete whole body exercise. And for those of you who are interested in swimming, do swim, and are interested in competitive swimming, this video contains a lot of knowledge for you and you can surely level up. Today's guest is Mihir Ambre. He is the member of Indian swimming team. He has won silver medal in 100-meter butterfly at Singapore National Championship. He has won various medals in South Asian Games in 2019 in Nepal, South Asian Aquatic Championship in Sri Lanka, Khelo India University Games, and many more. To sum it up, till date he has 12 international medals, 400 national, state, and district medals, and 30 best swimmer trophies. Welcome Mihir, welcome to the show. So the question we have been asking to athletes at our podcast is, what are you doing to maintain your fitness in this corona pandemic?
But for me, I am just trying to maintain my, not a fitness actually, but just doing the body weight exercises, whatever dumbbells or weights I have. I'm just trying to maintain my strength and my muscle tone for now because for swimming, you just can't be reliable on just the dry land exercises. You have to get into the water to get the feel and
Right.
extras. So yeah, and the aerobic thing is also getting hampered because we are not able to go outside, even if we are during the unlock and stuff. But the running and cycling won't help much for now to get back into the shape that we were. So yeah, hoping to just maintain the fitness to the level and try to get back as soon as possible.
So for the audience, let me explain the flow of this podcast in short. So first we are going to cover how to go from local to international. Then we'll focus about training and nutrition, and then we'll move to some pro tips and techniques that Mihir uses. And afterwards, we can look into opportunities that are currently present in Indian swimming. So, at what age did you start swimming, Mihir?
Actually, swimming was never the thing that I wanted to pursue. I just started swimming because just as a life-saving thing. I shouldn't get drowned anytime. So yeah, I started swimming at the age of 10, I guess, the basics. Then I shifted to the competitive swimming in a year or so. From there, I started loving the racing thing. Like I love racing.
Okay.
So I started racing at the age of 11, 12. That time swimming was quite hazy. I was not focused anything. I was just trying to, you know, different stuff, different strokes. I wasn't focused that much on one stroke. I just used to uh, listen to my coach and my mom who drove me into this swimming thing.
just as a sport that you would take in school. So it was kind of like that
Yeah,
formation.
kind of. I never liked to swim much before because it took most of the time. I just did it for the sake of fun and just to get exhausted a bit during the day, apart from studies and all.
So
Yeah.
what is the selection process? As much as I understand, it is first the district, then you
Hmm.
play the state, then the nationals. And what after nationals? How do you get selected into the international team?
Okay, so actually there are two types of nationals in swimming right now. Till the age of 17, you can play either it's called a Swimming Federation of India that hosts the nationals, and there's another one that is the School Games Federation of India. So the Swimming Federation of India takes the selection process, as you said, district, state, national. But the school games selects from the school level, and it has ZP, zonal, state, and national. That's the selection process for the school games. And yeah, both after nationals, in both the criteria, you can go to international meets. There are various interna- international meets for SFI as well as HGFI. For the selection criteria, as you say, there are different qualification times which you have to clock. Um, then once you clock the
So it's
qualification
not like that.
times,
It's not like that. Top three will get selected. Whoever will cross the qualification time will get selected. Is it like that?
no, it's not like that. It's not that simple. So in some meets, it is like what you said, the first three or first two are taken. And for some meets, like high level meets, there are qualification times. And even if we cross the qualification times, you have to be like every country has a person norms, like how many can you take in. And sometimes it is like whoever crosses the mark can just enter.
And what about after that? So what? How do you get selected in the Commonwealth Games or let's say the Olympics? What is the selection procedure over there?
So these are the top tier meets, like very tough ones. So these are the senior level ones. There are also international meets that are age group based. So for the seniors, you have to cross the qualification mark. It doesn't matter what age you are. Once you cross the qualification marks, there are actually two types of qualifications. One is the B type and one is the A type. So for the B type, it is like this that a country has a specific criteria. Once you cross the B qualification, you can send two or three entries. And once you cross the A qualification, you are automatically selected through the Olympic Committee. There's no stopping in between. There's no restrictions. No one can stop you. But for the B
Right.
qualification, there can be some restrictions.
Got it. And then coming to your participation in competitions, as we have seen your medals, you have participated in numerous competitions. And even after making it to Team India, you still participate in university competitions. So how important do you think it is to participate in these local competitions? So are they like your continuous testing points? Do you continuously get evaluated? So is it something
Yeah,
like that?
I look at them like I also started from the low level. I never thought of it like that. Like these are locals and all. So once you get to the international stuff and all, people usually think that these meets don't matter much or like that. But it is not like that. Every meet counts. It is yeah, as you said, testing ground for us. So for example, if you take right now, it's quarantined. Everyone is off. So even after this, there is no chance. I don't think so. Anything will resume immediately. So whatever the first meet is, or any meet for that matter, it will count to get back to the shape, or at least to look at what point we are.
that is a wonderful spirit. So I hope if any young people are looking forward to joining swimming as a athletic profession, please do participate in every competition you can find. That will challenge you.
Yeah, yeah. You must
The
challenge
next,
yourself. It may be anything.
right, you have to challenge yourself, right? And before moving to the training part, I just have some questions about, is there a specific body type that will help you to go into competitive swimming? Because I just uh, saw a video in which it is said that Michael Phelps had like double jointed elbows and shoulders, which helped him gain competitive advantage. And again, there is this stereotype that you need a very big height to go into swimming as a competitive sport. So is that true?
Uh, it's the perspective that you put into, because Michael Phelps' body type is amazing for swimming. And yeah, height is also a great advantage, but it doesn't matter if you have height or not. I have seen many swimmers who don't have much height, but they have performed very well. There are body types, if you say, because I think that muscular and other body types, you know,
Lean body type.
not actually lean, I can say, but if you have the strength and if everything is at equilibrium, or at least you try to maintain the fitness, strength, flexibility, everything at a standardized form, then yeah,
Right.
you can just,
Understood.
yeah.
So it is not like you have to have one extreme like height. You have to have a well balance. So not
Your
very
body
low
should be
and not
well balanced.
right.
It includes various things as nutrition and all. Because looking at my body, because this is very controversial again. It has happened to me because people used to think I have a muscular body type, more of it. So they thought, how would I be able to swim or get
Right.
faster in water? So I just thought that why not just prove it wrong?
Right. Exactly.
We can just balance everything out,
I
and
get.
yeah,
I get it.
you can work on what you need. It's not
So
just
coming to the training now, how many days a week do you usually train whenever there is a competition around, and how many hours a day do you train?
there are actually seasons, and there's a peak season, there's an off season, such things. So normally all 6 days I swim. It's a morning session and a evening session, so two sessions a day for the peak, like whenever I have to go to a crucial competition. And then when we have taper, we usually do one session a day swimming.
So how much hours is a session?
A session is depends. There are various sessions again, depending on the aerobic, anaerobic sprints, etc. So average out, it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours swim.
So two session it comes to around 5 hours. So five
Yeah.
hours training. Okay. So now the next thing I want to ask you is, can you break down this training? Like I've so according to me, there should be both type of exercises, right? Strength exercise and stamina exercise in
Hmm.
your sessions.
Yeah.
So what do you do in these sessions? You mentioned just like you mentioned the aerobic style and anaerobic style. So can you just tell us about detail?
So I would like to go to the point of the body type. So everyone has a different body type, so the workout also differs to person. And again, there are two types of swimmers basically, which I can put into normal words because it's sprinters and the distance swimmers. The distance swimmers usually need more aerobic training. Sprinters also need aerobic training, but not as much as the distance swimmers. They have to swim a lot of distance. Sprinters usually have a body type where the lactate goes higher and they need short bursts of energies.
Okay.
And At the training part. So the training part is divided into, actually it's divided into various components. Like not every session is the same. There is aerobic, then there is anaerobic, there is sprints and various stuff which we have to work on.
So what do
But
you
as
do
a
in this aerobic and anaerobic exercises? So,
aerobic is usually focused on how we can increase our lung capacity or how we can build our stamina.
right.
Anaerobic is mostly
Do
how
you
we can
measure that?
control our.
So do you
Yeah, yeah.
measure that in terms of the length of the pool that you have swum? Because
Uh,
like that, I just mentioned the video that I saw. That I know I'm comparing Michael Phelps. He's a legend, but it is said that when he was in his like around 18 years, he used to swim around 100 miles every week. So
mhm.
that is what are you saying that you measure the length,
We can't compare him because he was not even taking off on Sundays. He was
right?
working out throughout the week, the whole month, whole year.
But as you are saying for the
So
aerobic exercise, do you measure the length of how much you have swam?
it is dependent on the laps that we do and the timing related to that. For example, 10 into 100 meters is a set. The Olympic size pool length is 50 meters, so we do 2 laps and the whole thing into 10. And then we
Okay.
have the timing reset. We have to reach in a particular time and then again start for the next lap at a particular time.
So
So that's how it goes. We have
most of
to
your training is
count.
time based.
Yeah, it's time based. Everything is time based because without timing is everything in swimming. Without timing, nothing can happen. But then there are all other aspects like stroke count, frequency, how efficiently you manage your strokes, your kicking together.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. So for strength, what do you do? What do you do to build the strength in swimming?
there are various things that we do because we have stretch cords, we have therabands, we have weights, and for swimming, because swimming specific exercises are different because we can't just do normal static stuff.
So what are
We have
those
to do
exercises?
dynamic. Um, Usually we do drills on land, dry land with the stretch cord. With therabands, there are also various drills which I can't just tell like
Explain.
that.
I get
Yeah,
it. I get.
and yeah, other weights and all also. Weights are quite like the normal stuff we do. It's just for building up the strength and
So you do go
stuff.
to the gym also.
Yeah, we have to go to because otherwise we can't gain the strength. We
Right.
have to use the weights.
And another question I had about how do you train for breathing? So you also have to increase your lung power, right?
Mm.
So how do you do that?
So usually people prefer on dry land. People prefer yoga or the breathing exercises on land. Um, but mostly we spend most of the time in the pool. So as I said, the aerobic and anaerobic sets help us to have the control over the breathing. And again, the underwater kick, we have to hold our breath underwater. So during that, we train for that also.
Okay. And the last question about training as such is, uh, do you believe in the hand power and leg power training differently? Do you do that? Because again, we circle back to Michael Phelps because there was this incident where he had some injury.
Mhm.
So what he did was he only trained for kicks, and eventually his kicks became so strong that he had that edge over all the Olympic athletes. So, do
Yeah.
you train separately for hand and leg?
No, uh, speaking for myself, I have always tried to improve on the weak points. Like after every meet, I analyze the stuff, and wherever I feel I'm weak, I work on that. Uh, there's no separation as such in the training because we have to maintain a balance again. But yeah, if you have a edge, I would say the underwater is the fastest. So you can get an edge over the other swimmers in underwater. So you have to have a faster kick and a strong one. So you can get out ahead of the other swimmers from the start.
Got it. The next thing is very important along with exercise is the kind of food and nutrition that you have in this
Mhm.
process. So, what is your diet?
Uh, Diet is different for everyone.
Right.
Like it also depends on the body type of the person. So I can't just explain what optimum diet is, but yeah, it mostly revolves around the content of carbs, fats, proteins that you take. Um, there are various again diet programs that we have to take during the session, during the
So,
season, during the peak season and the off season. So we have to maintain.
what kind of diet do you follow then?
I follow mostly. I
What do
prefer
you generally take as nutrients? So, the like what amount of carb? Like, I'm not asking in calories. Like, what food do you eat? That's what I'm asking.
I I,
Uh,
I eat normally whatever you
Normal
guys
home
eat.
cooked
Yeah,
food.
I eat that
And
only. It's just
okay,
proportionate and well
because
distributed over the period of time throughout the day.
swimmers I think have more metabolism, so they must have a high intake of everything. So
Hmm.
what is recommended? Having more proteins?
Again, I said it depends on the body having type. More protein is always welcome because eating more carbs usually people gain fat and it just goes in. And now it's the situation where we are not training, so we have to have the control over the diet. Otherwise, we can go out of the form anytime.
And what about supplements? Do you take supplements or minerals in an
Yeah,
artificial form?
supplements like protein powder and all, that is essential. But these things are, I would recommend it would be taken after the age of 15, maybe, because I didn't take anything before that.
And last question about food is what do you actually eat before a match? Because we have seen that if you overeat, it is very problematic when you swim, right? So
Mhm.
what what is that thing that you generally have before a match?
I usually try to, again, not eat as much, but depends on the event that I'm swimming. I usually do the 50s and the 100s. So before the 50s, I normally prefer to take something light because 50s is a sprint event and it just gets over quickly. I cannot have much before the race because then I feel bloated and all. But for 100, yeah, I can just take some carbs in because I have to do a double lap and I need to have that energy.
So carbs. So do you have like do you prefer food that we normally eat or some protein bars or the energy bars? Is that what is generally taken during a match?
I just take the fusion of everything. Like I try to combine whatever I have at that moment and just plan it out and
Okay,
have it.
okay. So no very so not a very detailed focus on what like, you are actually eating, but sufficient enough to have some energy for the match and not excess so that you face a problem during the match.
Because there is this thing that you cannot have everything at every place because I have been to various places where whatever I had planned, I did not get.
Right.
Like I cannot just the situations vary according to place. So I
Exactly.
have to just
Especially if you travel abroad.
basic things are always welcome. If I get more, it's always good. Protein bars and all I carry with me. So
Milk,
yeah,
eggs, these are the
basic necessities, yeah, those you can get in hotels and anywhere you can get. Otherwise, the food is also provided good depending on which hotel you stay again.
right.
Yeah.
So now after a match or let's say after some intense exercise, what recovery techniques are there? Some special kind of recovery techniques for swimming?
Recovery is very crucial because without that, nothing like the next day is very tough then, for me at least, because my body gets tight.
Right.
I would prefer stretching immediately after the exercise that you do. Stretching and flexibility is very important. Again, if you are able to do yoga, it's good. For recovery, I usually stretching and flexibility, that's enough.
And sleep. What do you think about sleep?
Sleep is sleep is also important task.
Because
Important task,
that's
I
when
can say.
your body actually heals, right? So that is
Yeah.
when actually recovery.
Mm. So actually, sleep is also dependent on the schedule again. Sometimes we don't get enough sleep, but mostly it is preferred for athletes that they get a good sleep, quality
Right.
sleep. Yeah.
Okay. And then now let's move to some little professional tips and techniques for people who are already into competitive swimming. So
Mhm.
an important part of swimming is the dive and the initial glide that you have. So
Mhm.
how do you improve on this?
Um, you can do the starts practice in the pool. You can do the underwater kicks. You have various drills for that also. And for the starts on dry land, you can do the squat jumps and other stuff. You can do it body weight or with weights, anything. It will increase your leg power. Yeah, that's all.
And one thing I just wanted to ask, like if we dive deep into this, it would probably take another episode, but we want to have quick tips about every stroke, like all the four strokes. One tip regarding each stroke, if you could give something that is professional, something that has helped you, so it would be great.
Okay, so I mostly specialize in butterfly and freestyle. I used to do breaststroke and backstroke for fun. I do it right now. But yeah, for freestyle, you need coordination. For every stroke, actually, you need coordination itself. It's the basic key. For freestyle, I can say your kick and your strokes have to be in a perfect sync to get the
Okay.
best out of it. For butterfly, I can say power for me has been power and the smoothness of the stroke has to be great. I have focused mostly on that, keeping the strokes as smooth as possible. Otherwise, it just goes down.
And I
Uh,
just wanted, yeah. So continue. If you have any other tip, it's great.
no, no, you can.
Yeah, so when I was swimming, the my guide who was guiding me at that time for freestyle, he
Mhm.
said that when actual competitive swimmers swim, so when you put your hand up, they actually so their body alignment actually changes like this and like this.
Yeah,
So is that true?
yeah. I guess he was teaching you freestyle back then.
Yeah, yeah. For
If that
freestyle,
was happening,
yeah,
yeah,
for freestyle.
yeah. So that happens. Yeah, the our torso moves like this, and it is very essential for you to go like that
So okay,
to
so
reduce the drag again.
okay, to reduce the drag, right?
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that because I couldn't validate the tip at that time. So it's
Okay.
better to validate it from an expert. The next, so any more thing specific to techniques that you want to share with the audience?
I can't say much about backstroke and breaststroke because I usually don't do that. But yeah, for backstroke and breaststroke also it's the same. For backstroke, you have to keep your buoyancy up. Uh, you have to be at the surface of the water. And for breaststroke, I guess
I
power
guess
again.
power, right? That's what I was guessing.
Yeah, power and
And
stroke smoothness. Everything is it revolves around that.
uh, now that you have made it to Team India, so what are now your future plans? What are your future goals?
Well, I'm planning to just get back into form for the short term. I don't plan like huge things. The main focus is always the Commonwealth, Asian, and the Olympics. But you go step by step. And for now, I'm just hoping that the 2022 Asian and the Commonwealth Games would be a better stage to perform for me. I'm just planning to do the qualifications for that. And then maybe the 2024 Olympic Games.
Yes, we would like to see you in the 2024 Olympics.
Yeah.
Uh, Speaking of Olympics, why do you think like India isn't that much what we can say ahead of all the countries? Like I guess USA, these countries generally take all the medals in swimming. So why do you think that happens? What is the part that India and swimming in India as a whole is missing?
Um, in in swimming, India has improved a lot over the years. That I can say, and it is improving. We have a lot of talented swimmers, upcoming swimmers. But as you say, we are not up to that par. Maybe because of the infrastructure we have, the qualities or the type of support we have, or the you know the pools or the quality of training or the other things that may not be as par with the international swimmers. Yet I can't say that it is true because we are just trying our best to get there and we are
Right.
planning according to that.
Yes.
But
And
those guys are,
India is breaking records at an international level quite fast, I must say. You did it
yes,
too,
yes,
right?
yes.
You broke some record. So can you just share what that experience was?
Uh, I broke the national record of Vidawal Khade in junior nationals in 2017 and many other records
So
because I don't remember.
what was that record about?
It was a 100-meter butterfly record. It was since 2009 for, I guess, almost 10 years, I guess. 2009 or
Right.
something, the record he made. And everyone was trying to break the record for many years. And I was just confident about it at that time that I would make it.
Right. So speaking of records, I was also listening to this interview where the specific swimmer says that the athletes actually aim for the record. So when you broke the record, were you actually aiming to break the record, or did it happen accidentally?
No, no, no. It didn't happen. It's a very rarely incident that a record has happened accidentally. But yeah, for me, I just before that breaking the record, I was just focusing on improving myself, getting as fast as possible. I had the record in mind. I had the thought that I have to break the record. But as the junior nationals were preceding or they were getting close, I started focusing more on breaking the record or how I can finely tune my performance.
was planned.
Yeah. The record was actually, yeah, planned because I had to break a record.
Great. That is great.
That record was very essential for me because I was focusing only on the 100-meter butterfly, and this record stood for a long time. So breaking it was a
Right. It
happy
was an
thing.
really
Yeah.
it was a great achievement. Uh, Now a different question, like apart from just swimming as a sport, what are different professions that you can pursue in this field of swimming, like as of a coach? And do you know any other professions that people can usually take after retiring from this sport?
Yeah, there are many career options you can pursue after this. You can study along with the journey if you want, or there are various government jobs also available that can give you a job maybe. Where there are various swimmers who have gone into the government jobs. Railways again is there. So yeah, there's no you can go.
So Indian government gives jobs, but uh, what about jobs in this field only? Suppose if I want to be a nutritionist, or are there specialized roles? Have you seen them? Like people are actually into sports nutrition or into nutrition for swimming, or they
Yes,
are
yes, yes.
physio in swimming. So have you
Hmm.
seen such?
These people play an important role in our whole thing because without physios and nutritionists, we can't just plan everything on ourselves. So yeah, there are various career options like sports nutritionists, physios. There can be various. I have not
Right.
heard of
So
it.
you are very young to think of retirement and venturing into other sports right now.
I have always tried. I like to try new things. I always try other sports. I play other sports, but right now it's mostly focused on swimming, so I'm not able to like do other stuff much.
Now that you mentioned playing other sports, just follow-up question, that does playing different sport help in swimming? Because I guess AB de Villiers played a lot of sports, and so as a whole he was a very good athlete, and I guess it helped him in different sports as he went along the way.
Sports generally develops your whole body structure in various ways. So one or the other way it's gonna help you.
Right. And now coming to your coaches, how important do you think coaching has been in your journey? So how important was the advice given by your coaches, and how many coaches do you currently have?
Uh, right now there are two, one in Pune and one in Bangalore. Yeah, and coaches play it's the they are the core of what we have. They play
Right.
very important role because without coaches we can't just practice on our own, or you know
And,
we have that feeling that this person is
right.
gonna be the guiding one throughout the
Yes.
journey.
He is the support.
Yeah.
Right. And what about senior athletes who you look as? So you look. So who are the senior athletes that you look as mentors? Are there some in your life that who have accomplished much way more than you in swimming, and they guide you in your journey?
Uh, yeah, there's a mutual understanding between us. So there are various senior athletes to me. There are various swimmers who are senior to me, and I look forward to them. There is Sandeep Sejwal is there, Veer Dhawan is there. Yeah, and there are a lot more. So yeah,
So
I
it's like a community and helping all the Indian swimmers grow. It is
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's like that. We help each other in whatever way we can.
Right. So swimming in India is a healthy community.
Yes, it is.
Coming to our final two questions. This is a question that has two parts. First question is, what is that advice that you have gained from your mentor that will stick with you your whole life? And the second question is, what is the one advice that you would like to pass on to the future generation who are aspiring swimmers?
The one thing that I learned from my mentor, like the coach you are saying, um, you keep working hard on whatever you are doing. Like you don't give up at any point. Have faith in the journey. Just believe in yourself and just keep working on it. And the thing that I would like to pass on would be never think like I can't do it. Um, Once you have decided to do a thing, just give your best. Never compare yourself to anyone. Like looking forward to someone for improving yourself is different, and comparing is different. Never compare. Keep competing with yourself. Be better yourself. Yeah, that's all I would want to say.
Thank you, Mir. You have been a lovely guest and a great mentor. And
Thanks.
for the audience, please like, comment, share this video if you find value in it. Please let us know how you find this video in the section, and share this video with someone you know who is into swimming. So probably they can gain something from it. We would be linking our social media handle, our Instagram handle, and Mihir's social media handle in the description below. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, it's a goodbye.